Good evening, and we're down here at M.O.S.S playing fields, or City of Belfast playing fields as it's known, and this evening we're just going to touch base on the illegal migrant hotel known as the Chimney Corner. Now, if my sums are correct, this hotel has been in operation now for 3 years to house illegal migrants. 3 years, you heard that right, with no end date in sight. Now, from what I have been told, the illegal migrants are being moved out of hotels and into private sector rental accommodation, usually within housing estates or the cheaper areas of town where the rent is lower. And as we all know, it is the lower rental sector that a lot of these illegal migrants are placed by the authorities. Now, there appears not to be a plan B here. This is just going to go on ad nauseum. It just seems to be indefinite, and 3 years, in my opinion, is 3 years too long. If you have no business being in Northern Ireland, you have no business staying in Northern Ireland. It really is as simple as that. You either do things legally or you're doing things illegally. And in the case here, it's illegally. Amply supported by the Northern Ireland taxpayer. Now, I think we need to abide by two criteria here. The first one, and the most important one, is that before you arrive on our shores, you've got to have employment lined up. And an employer can only recruit somebody from overseas if the job has been open for 6 months or more. The employer must try to recruit locally before they are allowed to take on foreign workers. And I think it's only sensible that we limit numbers in that regard. I don't think we can have just a free-for-all, everybody coming into our country. So there has to be a job in place before somebody arrives in Northern Ireland to settle. And once you arrive in Northern Ireland, if you give that job up, you can claim benefits for up to 2 years minimum. You've got to work, and I'm glad to say that most people that come to Northern Ireland shores do work. They work hard, they pay tax, they don't freeload off the taxpayer, and they're paying tax which supports Northern Ireland, and that can only be a good thing in the long term. The second criteria, which is equally important, and I think this is largely overlooked by many of the political class within Northern Ireland, is that you have to have a very good grasp of the English language. And we need a test before you settle in our country where you can speak English, read English, and spell English to a high standard. If you can't do that, you're not going to be much use. I mean, English is the language of our nation, and unless you can speak that, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. So I believe that we need some kind of structured test before we let somebody settle in this country. If you can't speak English at all, I'm afraid you're going to be a net drain to Northern Ireland and the taxpayers within Northern Ireland. Unless you can speak the language, you're of no use. You're pretty much a dead loss. You can't function. I mean, if you were to go to a country such as Japan would need to see that you can speak fluent Japanese, read Japanese, and write Japanese. Otherwise, you're no good to the Japanese economy. You're going to be a net drain, so they don't let you in. And I think that's the policy that we need to adopt within Northern Ireland. I'm not opposed to immigration, but it has to be immigration done on the correct terms. There needs to be a partnership. If you're going to come to our country, you're going to have to be able to show that you can speak English, read English and spell English, and you're going to have to take up a job, unlike the occupants of the hotel and many within the private sector rental accommodation. Tell me what you think about this. Let me hear your views. Do you think that's a good idea? I know I certainly do. Language is very important. It's probably the most important thing. It's just not right that you can rock up to our shores and throw yourself at the mercy of the Northern Ireland taxpayer and contribute nothing. You don't work, you don't pay tax, you're freeloading off the Northern Ireland taxpayer, and you can't speak a word of our language. That's just not good enough. It's not acceptable. And you should be leaving our shores within 7 days. No question about it. But as always, tell me what you think. Leave your comments. And let me hear your ideas. And I'll try and respond if and when I can. And I'll see you all on the next video.